High Tales of History is for mature audiences.
Gotta loosen the old shoulders up.
Oh, yeah, get loose. You feeling it?
Gotta be ready.
Okay, she's ready. I'm ready. Are you ready? Welcome to High Tales of History. We're a history podcast for two sisters. Yeah, hi, and we surprise each other with the tale from history, a tale from the past. Get back there. Get back in the past. Get in the smoke circle, get back. I'm Laurel, sorry, the older sister.
I'm Katie, the younger, possibly chaotic sister.
Yin and yang, here we go.
It's really funny that you chose that specific statement, yin and yang. We might just quite possibly be traveling to the east. I've got Eastern history for you today. So how magical that you would just segue us right there.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We're going to go east. Hopefully this is the way that this space is.
Right? I never know where it's going to be at the end. And I'm like,
Yes. East. Nailed it. Nope. West. Shit. That's west. That's east. I map
west,
out
Patrick.
where I'm at and visually see it and go, okay, if I'm facing this direction.
Right.
Who says Americans can't orienteer?
I can, just not inside the house. I'm like, I have no idea. As soon as I'm outside, I'm like, yep, that way. I know what's up.
As she said, east, no west, which is exactly just the opposite.
The opposite?
Yeah. I got my badge for that. Hey, do you want to get your badge for history? Katie, how are you doing? And what's up in your cup? I didn't mean to say what's up in your cup, but that felt really good.
What's up in your cup was exactly what you meant to say. What's up? What's up in here?
That cup?
Mocha, dude. Homemade mocha. I made it a little differently today, and I like it better. So I think this is going to be the move from now on. Got my good brain vitamins in there because I have those powders I have to take for brain problems. So, just getting all the vitamins and minerals in for the day. How about yourself?
Good. Well, I've eddied up.
Well, wake and bake.
Can you see my eyes?
Actually, no, you didn't visually
look
look. No,
too
not at
classy?
all. But I figured you were doing a wake and bake, and I love that for you. I think that's
Thanks.
fucking incredible. And we're gonna go on a journey, dude.
Good. I was gonna say I had to do it kind of early, otherwise, because I gotta be a responsible adult later.
Mm-hmm.
I am a responsible adult. We got to do our wake.
Absolutely.
She says. So we're gonna go are we on a boat to the east? Are we gonna trek in some way to the east?
We took a flight there, and we're gonna kind of sit on the mainland. I'm pretty sure we're at a bridge.
Okay.
If you fucking guess this, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be like, there's no way she knows what this is.
Okay.
You probably fucking do, though.
Well,
I'd be so mad.
I'm gonna say no. I don't know it regardless.
Don't lie to save face for me. Never do that. Never let my feelings stop you from being correct.
Okay.
It's just I'm let me say, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad, but also I'm I am in awe of your history knowledge. It's impressive that you can know that many things. And I think it's fucking cool, but also it makes it hard to surprise you. So let's see if I got you this
Okay.
time.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I like hearing nice things. Yeah. Speaking of nice things, Katie, you got some really nice compliments. Comments on a couple of our episodes, but you got a little compliment of how cool you are, how fun you are.
Well, that's really kind. They don't know the level of chaos, though.
Maybe that's why they love you so much. That's really good. They're like, Katie's our girl. It's funny because somebody else had said compressed evil. Remember your Predator episode where you said compressed evil?
Real.
And they spelled it in a really fun way, KOMPR, something like that, and put it together, and it's is a cool drag name. And I was like, oh damn it is, because I was like, dude, that's gonna be the name of my punk band.
That's real, dude. I'm into that.
Compressed evil. So,
dude, if I could play bass, I would just rock a punk band because bass is what leads punk. Like, that's where it's like it lives, man, in there.
Okay.
So it's funny you would say that, specifically a punk band, because I've been, like, living there lately. You know, and all genres of it, like the OG punk, the hardcore punk, the pop punk, like the old Blink. I had Dude Ranch and Enema of the State just, like, smashing the other day. I was like, shut the fuck up. This shit is great. Mike Dirnt and Dookie and Insomniac, get out of my face with that. Those bass lines, get the fuck out. It's so good, though. All right, enough of my love of it.
So good. I love that. That was a good detour. We just kind of went off. We saw like the world's biggest rubber band ball.
I just feel like
and
bass doesn't get like the love it deserves, which has nothing to do with what I've brought you here for today. All right.
Okay.
So we journey east. You can go over the Pacific if you want. I personally wouldn't. I would go like through like Heathrow and Germany route because, man, I need a break. That's a long flight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I get it. Or I'll stop in Maui. Actually, that's a great idea. We'll stop in Maui. We'll quick go get some guest day shrimp because it's the best I've ever had in my life. We'll get back. We'll run back across the street. Okay. Get in and like get back through security, and then we'll get on our flight back over to China.
You know, it took me a hot second to realize you were talking about a hypothetical flight. Like we were pretending that we're taking a flight over to China.
We are.
For a moment, I was like, wait, where are you? We were flying through that?
Laura's like, wait, like, what?
I sat there like listening to that whole thing, being like, yep, right. Wait a second.
Good. I need you in on it, man. Us and all the listeners, we're all on the plane together. We sold the whole thing out. There's no, like, nobody else is here. It's just us. Yeah.
Y'all get an aisle to yourself. You know, it's the big
could
plane.
You imagine?
Yeah. Stretch out.
It is a big
or
plane.
It's all
and I'd like to think
seats.
we have enough. Huh?
I said, or it's all first class seats and we just get to like lay back.
That'd be the dream.
Right?
Wouldn't it? Yeah. If we had the funds, I would take you. So we stopped in Maui. We're in China now. Okay. Buckle up, everybody. Here we go. So when we think of World War II, we often think of the Western Front, the threats Hitler made to Austria, and the assassination that erupted into a long-remembered war and genocide that changed the world. Rarely is it discussed the second front this war was fought on, the Eastern Front, the conflicts Japan was having with close neighbors and their hostile takeover of northern China. Now, don't freak out. I know you've been like, I've already done this story. I know you have, but we're not touching that one. We're staying like east. You went like, I think you touched on this. Now I'm trying to remember. Link to that in the, down below to that episode. Do you remember when you did what led Japan to like get so shit on in World War? Do you remember that episode?
Right. Yeah. How Pearl Harbor came to be, or like the lead up to it, I think, wasn't it?
The lead up to Pearl Harbor. So this is going to touch on a lot of the same things. But I'd never heard of it. And I was like, well, if I've never heard of it, I know a bunch of other people haven't heard of it. So I should probably talk about it. So we are going to be talking about today what's known as, in English, as the Marco Polo Bridge incident, or also known as the Lugou Bridge, which is what it is obviously called in its native tongue in China, the Lugou Bridge. Do you know it?
I don't know anything about it, but I have seen that as a
good
title for for a thing to learn. Here's a thing in history you can learn, and we're going to learn it right here.
You are going to learn it right here, and that's really exciting to me that you don't know it, because it's sometimes hard for me to find stuff that you don't know about.
Just a big old dork. Just a big old history dork.
I mean, well-informed would be what I would say, but,
Okay.
So the Lugou Bridge incident happened between July 7th and 9th in 1937. It was a military clash near what is now Beijing. So to put you on a map where you can go find this, if you ever go hang out in China and look for it, it's by Beijing, and there's probably going to be a shit ton of signs to point you to it because it is culturally significant to them. The skirmish between the Chinese National Revolutionary Army and the Imperial Japanese Army serves as a spark that ignited the Second Sino-Japanese War. And we're not going to go into that war. We're more talking about the incident, but I have just a quick summary of what it is so that you're not left questioning, because I ask why all the time, and I was like, well, I'm going to make sure I fill that in. Here's your little sticky note, your annotation. The Second Sino-Japanese War lasted from 1937, that's 19, you can do this, 1937 to 1945. The conflict broke out when China began a full-scale resistance to the expansion of Japanese influence in its territory. So, if anyone here has ever seen Ip Man, I-P, P as in Peter, Ip Man, I'm pretty sure this is at, like, one of these incidents happens, and I can't exactly remember that. I'm gonna do that story later in time. So, like, don't, like, research too heavily into it. Just wait for me. I'll get there. We love Eastern history. We don't spend enough time in it, so we got to talk about it.
No, this is cool.
Right? Wales had to have its day. Like, I'm stopping off at everybody's countries. Nobody's getting out of here, Scott. Everybody's getting their history told.
This is world history. Yeah, we love it all.
We do. So the expansion of the Japanese territory into the Chinese territory began in 1931. So if you've seen Ip Man, I'm pretty sure it's in the mid-30s. But again, I am going to go back and do a story on that particular gentleman. Do you know who that is, Laurel? Ip? Master Ip?
No, you have told me before that it is based on a real historical person, but
okay, cool.
I've not even seen the movies.
I want to
either,
surprise
so.
you with who he is.
Okay.
Do you like know specifically?
No,
like, why he's famous? Okay, cool. Don't look it up.
I'm going to find out. Okay, I'll find out one day with you.
I mean, I'll do it soon. Probably not in my next episode, because I don't know if I want to link up Eastern and Eastern, but I mean, we could. Why not? I'll think about it. I actually had another bit of Eastern history planned for the next episode, but maybe I'll flop them. We'll see. But yes, hang in there, because I am going to definitely talk about Master Ip. So, the war, which pretty much remained undeclared, so it was just like fighting. Like, you know how like countries have to come out and be like, we're at war with these people. Like, that's like a thing that countries do, which I kind of like forgot that was a thing until they're like, yeah, nobody declared shit here. And I was like, oh, like, do you need to? Like, if shots are fired, dude. Like,
yeah, well, I think we're living in that now, aren't we? Kind of like people just being like, we're just going to do that. Yeah, you know.
Well, so it started in the early 1930s. This remained undeclared until December 9th of 1941. So it went on for a long time. Like, wow. Japan was pressing into China, and people don't know this. And Ip's story has a lot to do with this. It may be divided into 3 phases. The period of rapid Japanese advance until the end of 1938. And that's about where we're going to hang out. But the second period, it's like a stalemate until 1944. Things aren't great. Things aren't terrible. Like, they're just kind of like stuck. And the final period is when the Allied counterattacks, specifically in the Pacific on Japan's home islands, brought about Japan's surrender. So at that point, they pull out. So it lasted a long time. They were, basically, they were at war with China around the time Hitler was becoming chancellor. So, just to give you an idea, like, all this shit's going on and nobody ever talks about it. And I was like, we gotta fucking do that.
Doesn't happen in a vacuum, man.
It sure fucking doesn't.
It's the tapestry.
Yeah, dude. Oh, the history tapestry. One of us has to get good at cross-stitch and embroidery. Although it is generally accepted. Actually, I'm not bad with embroidery, to be honest with you. I'm like not a shit seamstress. Laurel can vouch for me. I've made like all my own costumes. Like, this bitch would win a cosplay contest. Like, I go hard.
She's got talent for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a weird talent. Like, a lot of people are like, you can like sew garments. I'm like, yeah, dude. You can? Basic human knowledge, dude. If you were in a cave, you'd be naked. Learn how to sew. I'll hunt the deer and I'll make you a dress out of it.
You're gonna feed and clothe and hunt?
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I am the full package. Full of something.
Truly. Truly. Do you forage too? Can we add that to the list?
Yeah. I've got a book that I would take along and I'd figure it out. I'm not helpless. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Great. And she can orienteer. So y'all ever get lost? Katie's like, right, I'm going to feed you, clothe you.
So it's generally accepted in World War II, right? We're back in China, near Beijing. Although it is generally accepted in World War II that it began with Hitler's invasion of Poland in 1939. I almost said 8. It's a 9. The roots of that global conflict actually reach back to the Marco Polo, or the Lugou Bridge incident of July 7th in 1937, a clash between the troops of the Republic of China and the Imperial Japanese Army. It may have little immediate importance for Americans and Europeans, but it mattered a great deal to those living throughout East and Southeast Asia. They soon found themselves at the center of a violent conflict to shape and reshape the world order. So in 1931, Japan occupied Manchuria, which is now northeast China, and it established the puppet state of, I'm going to do my best here, Munchukua. It spent large sums on the region's industry, so they were there for resources and to build industry, right? Because they wanted to use it to fund their own war efforts. They need raw materials, to make like planes and weapons of war and stuff like that. Because remember, you spoke about it in your episode that you did. Japan was like, I can't remember the specific incident, but they were like cut out of like an agreement or something. Do you remember that? The European countries were like, no, fuck you. We're not like, and that's when they started like plotting, they were like, this is not happening. We're taking China and then we're just going to work our way over to you. Right. So this has a lot to do with that. They needed the raw materials. They need the industry. What does China have? A lot of that, right? China's got a lot of resources. It's a big land. Huge. I stopped in the middle of a sentence. That was stupid. So they're spending a lot of money developing the industry, taking the raw materials, and they're expanding their occupation into northern China around Beiping and Tianjin. The Marco Polo Bridge incident, also known as the Lugou, transpired about a dozen miles or so southwest of Beijing's Forbidden City, in the vicinity of the walled municipality of the city Wanping. So if you're looking specifically, it's by one. Oh, you know where that is? Okay.
Well, no, I'm just trying to I'm visually mapping as best I can, but I'll put an actual map up here if you're watching.
That would be great. It'll be super helpful. It's like I said, it cut out, and that's not what I thought you said, but yes, a map of China. I was like, what? The bridge in question, right? As we call the Marco Polo Bridge, as it's called. So this bridge is an 11-arched stone bridge dating back from the 1180s. The reason English speakers call it the Marco Polo Bridge is not its real name, is because Marco Polo wrote about it. So the bridge's real and native name is the Lugou Bridge.
Lugou, okay.
But yes, it's cool. 11 arches. I mean, it's this big stone bridge. It's very striking to look at, It reminds me of the bridges that you build in like Age of the Empires. You know how they have those little stone arched bridges that you go across between the islands?
I'm familiar, yeah.
It kind of looks like that, but more architecturally beautiful.
Whoa.
It's got carvings and stuff on it. So it's a super pretty bridge.
I'll put it
and
up.
It's a big tourist attraction too. So if you go there to see it, I mean, it's cool. We'll get into that though. So the Lugou Bridge, it leads into Wanping's Western Gate. So it leads up to that city. The bridge itself, let's talk about it, was built in 1189. It was during the Jin Dynasty. The I'm going to call it the Lugou Bridge because its real name isn't the Marco Polo Bridge, although pretty much all my sources I use call it by that name. I guess it's kind of the accepted name in English to call it, but its real name is the Lugou Bridge. So when I say that, just know I'm talking about this Marco Polo Bridge. I'm just going to use its real name.
Yeah.
So the Lugou Bridge spans the Yongding River. It's quite an expansive river, but I guess now they divert the water flow, so it actually doesn't usually have water under it, which is wild, but all the pictures I saw of it had the water, like, through it, and it's a wide river, like, 11 arches, it takes a long time to get across.
That's some engineering and architecture right there.
It's China. They built the Great Wall. China, let's not even question them on engineering. They probably invented the book.
You know, it's been around for millennia, really. China has been. So, yeah, I mean, why? Why would I even say it's such an engineering and architectural feat? They're like,
that's
hands
what
up,
we
like,
do.
yeah, of course. We've been around a long time. Do you see this fucking
just
wall?
Sitting there with the hard hats, right? Just sitting there with the hard hats, just looking over schematics, be like, yeah, we'll have this done in 3 weeks.
It's fine. We'll build it.
Did you know that in China, they have a day and a night shift? So when the day shift is done, the night shift comes in and takes over. So stuff's just 24/7 built. Isn't that genius? Do you know how much shorter road construction would be if we had that? Midwesterners. Propose it. You pay factory workers at night. What's the difference? Get the road crews out there, man. People want to work. It's not as hot during the day when it's like 90 degrees. Fuck that. I'm just saying we could really learn a lot. Anyway, back to the Yongding River. The bridge itself, it holds great cultural and architectural value. Marco Polo, who I know nothing about, fun fact, the Venetian explorer. Does that mean he's Italian? From Venice?
Yeah.
No?
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
He was Italian? I didn't know that.
Remember that commercial? I think it was an insurance commercial, and they're playing Marco Polo with Marco Polo.
Yes.
You sono Marco Polo. Marco! Okay. He's like, you sono Marco Polo. And they're like, why you just like, I am Marco Polo. Why do you keep saying my name? Sorry, Italy. You're like that. You did not say that nice at all. I'm like, I know. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I just did a free advertisement for whatever that company. Actually, no, I didn't. I referenced it.
I don't remember. I was going to say, I actually don't know who did it, but I do remember the commercial. Yeah, because I remember his confusion. Like, why do you keep calling my name? So Marco Polo, the Venetian explorer, traveled across China in the 13th century and described the bridge's impressive lion sculptures in his travel accounts. We're going to come back to the lions. This made it renowned in the West and stood for centuries as a symbol of strength. However, in 1937, it became the unlikely focal point of a brewing conflict that had long been simmering.
Ooh.
Sorry.
It simmers. It simmers.
Oh, I mean, simmering is a good word for it. I mean, think about it. Japan has long led conquest. I'm not calling them out. I'm just saying this is just the history, and it's how they were. You know, they led conquest against each other. I have done quite a few stories of the different ninja clans. If you look up my early episode of Hatori Honzo.
Mm-hmm.
Was that his real name? I get that confused between Scorpion's name and his real name.
Yeah, Hatori Honzo, yep.
Yes. Definitely look into that. That one's cool. But a lot of, like, there's just a lot of war in Japan. It was a lot of territories, a lot of clashing clans, we shall say.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look at my episode. Actually, I do a lot of Eastern history. I don't know why I feel like I don't, but the admiral dude. Oh my god, why am I suddenly forgetting his name?
Yi Sun Shin? Yi Sun Sin.
Yes,
yeah.
my dog.
Shoot, I think
dude,
I might have gotten that wrong, but yeah,
like,
I know who you're talking about.
Yi Sun Shin.
Yi Sun Shin. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, in Korea.
He was Korean. To this day, I have never beaten that fucking level on Age of the Empires. It's unbeatable. You'll never convince me you
It's
can't.
so
And if you
hard.
did, you cheated. You're lying. You did not win. I don't believe you. You cheat coded that and you got the Canadian bears. There's like a cheat code in Age of Mythology where if you like cheat code it, it drops a bunch of grizzly bears with Canadian flags tied as capes on them. I shit you not. This is a real thing.
How have I not seen or heard about this before?
You need to download Steam and get Age of Mythology and look up Canadian bear cheat and live your dreams. Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow, that's
somehow
fun.
I like way side quested. Where was I going with this? Japan has often had
yeah.
conflict. Yeah, Yi Sun-shin was fighting off the Japanese. You know, what year was that? I can't actually remember the year that happened, but greatest
16.
like naval leader of all time. In case you're wondering, if you want to look up a rad fucking story about a fucking amazing military leader, that is the one to look up. That man's name should be known world fucking wide. And if you ever play Age of the Empires, you're going to have a new respect for him. You'd be like, there's no fucking way this guy did this. He did.
He did.
Yi Sun-shin. So that being said, when I said the simmering made that comment, it really is true. Like, Japan has led a lot of conquest. You know, expansion was the name of their game. So the violation of China's territorial integrity produced a growing anti-Japanese movement in China. Hard to imagine. For those of you who have seen Ip Man, I should do an episode on that, and we should do a movie day on that. The Japanese, what's the word when you're in somebody else's country? The
Occupiers?
Japanese...
Like the Japanese occupation?
Occupation. Thank you, Laurel. The Japanese occupation of China was not peaceful. It was very harsh, and I know those who have seen Ip Man. It is a little bit exaggerated in that movie, but not a lot. What is exaggerated is the amount of like fighters that Master Ip took on. Laurel, I know you haven't seen it. Just hang in there. But otherwise, it's pretty close to how it was. It was not a gentle occupation. It was very cruel. And they very much saw the Chinese that they took over as much lesser than themselves.
Yeah.
Yes. So these people lived on very low rations, and were very poor. They were forced out of their houses a lot of times just by them being demolished, or the Japanese occupation wanted it. So you had to go find another spot to live. So it was not a gentle occupation, and that's important to be aware of. Obviously, there's a lot of anti-Japanese feelings amongst the Chinese, which I don't blame them. So the Japanese occupation of Manchuria, you said? That started in 1931. We discussed that. But the relations between China and Japan were increasingly strained for the reasons I've just told you. The Japanese Imperial Army had established a foothold in northern China, and under the pretense of seeking peace and stability, the army aimed to expand its control over the region. In contrast, the Chinese national government, despite facing internal issues, saw itself as the defender of Chinese sovereignty against Japanese encroachment. So here's what I think a lot of Westerners don't understand, and I talked about this a little bit over in my Genghis Khan. Now I know that's, a good deal in the past, but China is what you look at as China today wasn't like that until like the fucking 90s. China is such a vast, vast country now. It is so huge. There are so many different languages spoken in China. There are so many different people in China. Mandarin Chinese is not understood everywhere in that country. That's what we are told is the spoken word. There's Mandarin, there's Cantonese. Like, both of those are probably the most popular. But there are plenty of places you are going to go in China, the Southern Chinese and the Northern Chinese. two completely different people. They're as distinct as the Mongolians are from the Vietnamese. They're just totally genetically distinct groups of people, is my point. So China is a massive country made up of shit tons of different people. And I think it's important that people understand that China was not like nationally like united for a long time. There was a lot of internal politics that like this region doesn't get along with this region and stuff like that. Northern China, namely, as I understood it, was often changing hands. That's the whole of northern China was part of the Mongolian Empire in whatever 1200 that Genghis was in charge. And then his grandson had it all the way out to Poland. They were that far. What saved all of us? Bad politics. And they withdrew and all started warring amongst themselves. Yeah. Hey, I mean, if they hadn't, we would probably mostly be Mongolian by now. So, like, I mean, much of Europe would be, you know, the world would look very different. It's just interesting how history happens. But so it is not that abnormal that, like, China was not unified or nationalized like this. I just want people to keep that in mind. You know, the Chinese were not like a nationalized people. Like I said, the northern and the southern would be like, okay, you're from all the way down there. Like, I don't know you. It's not just, oh, you're Chinese and I'm Chinese. Hell yeah. You know, it's generally culturally distinct groups and they would call each other by those names.
Oh, okay. So, well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think
that's important.
I think people, I think when you hear this, you're like, well, China's a huge country. Why not just rise up and whatever? I'm like, it wasn't like that, though. You know, like, especially back here, it wasn't like that.
Welcome to the bridge between the first and second halves of the episode. Yeah? Bridge? Get it? Yeah, no, I know it's a dumb dad-level joke, but you know what isn't dumb? You spending time with us in the smoke circle. So thanks for being here. June is Hightail's birthday month. A Gemini, which I think is rather appropriate, don't you think? Our little baby podcast will be 5 years old at the end of June, pretty much at the release of our next episode, 121. They grow up so fast, don't they? Now, whether this is your first episode or you've heard every moment of the 120 episode catalog, on behalf of Katie and I, thank you so much. In case you're thinking, oh, I just love those girls and I would love to get them a present, keep your diamonds. We just want your accolades. Subscribe, rate, review, share an episode on your social media or with friends. And if you're listening on Spotify, just leave a comment on this episode. It notifies the algorithm overlords that people are listening and that others should be too. If you still want to give us the diamonds, though, you can financially support the show and help keep the lava lamps on here at High Tales of History. You can become a patron at patreon.com/High Tales of History. Thanks to the generosity of our patrons, the best buds, we don't just break even on our show now, but we are able to put away for some future purchases to help improve the show. Like that microphone I've been eyeing for a while. All of our social media handles and the Patreon link are in our show notes below. All right, I'm going to stop my yapping and let's cross the rest of this bridge together as we puff past it on to part 2.
So by 1937, the movement against this Japanese occupation had grown so strong that the Chinese communists and the nationalists, these are two separate political parties, they have agreed to end their civil war and they form a united front against Japanese aggression. This is why I said this. It's a big deal.
Hell yeah.
Hey, again, you are Chinese. I am also Chinese. Maybe we should get these guys the fuck out of here. So before the incident occurred, the Japanese army had occupied Fengtai. It's a railway junction close to the Lugou Bridge, southwest of Beiping. Laurel will provide maps. Skirmishes and provocations were common, but on the night of July 7th of 1937, a Japanese soldier went missing near the bridge during routine night exercises. I have no idea what those are. That's just what they called them. So when he reappeared later, the initial confusion already sparked confrontation. Basically, they couldn't find this guy when they were doing roll call, so they went over to Wanping the city, and they are demanding entry. The Japanese troops demanded entry into the nearby town of Wanping to search for the soldier. When the Chinese forces refused, gunfire escalated quickly. They just started shooting each other. Again, these people don't like each other. The Japanese were not kind to the Chinese. This was kind of just the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest. And it seems so small, right?
Yeah.
So the standoff that is known as the Marco Polo Bridge incident could have been ended with negotiations, as had many previous skirmishes between China and Japan. But this incident was different. The Japanese army mobilized reinforcements in the region, believing that the Chinese nationalist government would surrender control rather than resist, because that's what happened every time before. Instead, the Chinese forces, bolstered by a growing sense of nationalism and the leadership of, I got this, Chiang Kai-shek rhymes with Long Tai Chek is what I have written here. So, Chiang Kai-shek. Yeah, I'm killing this, baby. So under the leadership of that sick-ass dude with the sick-ass name that rhymes with Long Tai Chek, held their ground. They were not backing down. The stand at the Lugou Bridge, known as the Marco Polo Bridge incident, became a symbol of resistance. As the fighting around the Lugou Bridge continued, public outcry in China intensified. People across the country demanded a unified stand against this Japanese aggression. The surge of national sentiment led to both the Chinese and Japanese sides to commit more troops, ever escalating this initial skirmish into a full-scale war. This conflict, which lasted 8 years.
Holy shit.
It is not small. It lasted 8 years. It ultimately drew in foreign nations and contributed to some of what most are the most notorious events of World War II. So it all got rolled up together. And we never talk about this, so let's fucking talk about it. So although a ceasefire was finally declared, further efforts to de-escalate the conflict failed, largely due to the actions by the Chinese and Japanese commanders. No one wanted to back down, despite what their orders were.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it came down to. They were like, no, fuck you. Which I can't say that I would necessarily be any different. So I get it.
No, it absolutely makes sense, yeah.
So the Marco Polo Bridge incident marked the start of a full-scale warfare between China and Japan, leading to the Second Sino-Japanese War. During the Marco Polo Bridge skirmish itself, the initial casualties were relatively limited, with estimates suggesting around a few hundred soldiers on both sides were killed or wounded in the early days of the fighting. This seemingly small clash quickly escalated, like I said, setting off a conflict that would engulf China for 8 years. The Second Sino-Japanese War resulted in staggering losses. It is estimated that around 20 million Chinese civilians and soldiers lost their lives, while Japanese military casualties reached approximately 500,000. Yes.
Fucking hell.
Yes, this is why it took a long time for China to rebuild and become like the superpower that we know it as today. There was a lot of damage to their country.
Dude.
So the devastation to Chinese infrastructure and society was profound, leaving a lasting impact on generations to come and significantly altering the political landscape in Asia. This conflict ultimately merged with the broader battles of World War II, which was also happening at this time, in Asia, as Japan expanded its military campaigns across the continent. So not only were they fighting a war in China, at a big one, they were also island hopping, and they had Pearl Harbor going on. They had all this stuff. It's like, never fight a war on two fronts. That's what lost Hitler World War II. Remember that, people. I mean, I'm glad he lost. Like, hold on. Thank fuck he lost. But like,
once you
but
do
that's
that,
why he lost. If you're looking at
that guy.
military strategy, that was a bad idea. So Japan has all this war going on, like all around them. They're just in hemisphere. They're in a hemisphere of war. So the war was marked by widespread atrocities, including the Nanjing massacre, which I haven't talked about, but we could. I don't know it that well, like you do. You're nodding, so maybe it's not fun to talk about. It's probably pretty sad.
Yeah, the rape of Nanking is in there too, isn't it?
It didn't list that.
Oh,
It just
okay.
mentioned that massacre and left an indelible impact on the Chinese society and the geopolitical landscape of Asia. I mean, this was a big war.
I didn't realize that Japan was fighting on two fronts. I didn't realize this other war.
We never talk about
And
it.
huge too. Like, holy shit. Like,
Mhm.
why don't you? You're right? Why don't you know that?
20 million Chinese lost their lives.
Wow.
That's a pretty big war.
And did you say 500,000 for Japan?
Yeah, 500,000-ish is the estimate of their loss of life as well. And that's just in this Sino-Japanese War. That has nothing to do with World War II,
Mm-hmm.
which they were also fighting.
So if you're watching, then I'll see if I can put up some, like, the numbers of, like, some of the World War II, World War I, so that way it helps you understand the scale of it.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. I think we often need that. Yeah, the fact that we don't talk about this in conjunction with World War II is wild to me.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's why we're talking about it now. This is where you come to hear all history.
And this is what we do. That's the thing. Like, yeah, I mean, we could talk about the things that you learn that are in your history book, but let's get the stuff in between. You got to look at the full tapestry. And that's the interesting
Doesn't
stuff.
happen in a vacuum.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what tells you how different events and peoples are interconnected and what leads to what.
So, China's resistance. They're fueled by this incident at the Lugou Bridge. It also impacted the Chinese national identity. That's why I was telling you how separate a people they are. It led to the eventual involvement of the Allies in the Pacific Theater. Basically, that's what Pearl Harbor, I think, is. Anytime they talk about the Pacific Theater, that's usually the lead-in event to that.
Yeah, and then all the islands and battles fought through there. A lot of those. Those were like some of the worst.
Nasty.
Yeah, and the casualty
so
and
violent.
the death toll on the Pacific Theater was even
And
greater.
not just
how I
the
understand
soldiers on both sides. There were people caught in the middle. People just showed up to your fucking island. Like how I said we're all stopping off in Maui before we get here. Yeah, they would literally just roll up to your fucking island and you just have to run for cover and hope you don't die. That's literally what this island hopping was. I really, again, we do not talk enough about the Eastern Front of World War II. I can't watch a lot of shows about it. That Band of Brothers, I watched the Western Front one, which is brutal and sad enough. Because obviously it deals with the Holocaust eventually, I think, at the end. What was it, B? It was Bad Company, right? I think? No. E. I don't remember. Band of Brothers. But there is a Band of Brothers on the Pacific. What is it called? It's Pacific.
The Pacific,
no, just the
I
Pacific.
think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I just remember some of the episodes were just really brutal. And, like, I remember them, like, they would find dead, like, other soldiers, Japanese in this case, because they were island hopping, and they would just start digging teeth out of their mouth to look for, like, gold and silver and stuff. And I was like, it's wild to me how two opposing sides. I'm get on my soapbox for a second, and then we'll fucking get on with China's resistance. It's wild to me how dehumanized two sides in war can be, or two opposing sides can be. I have never been able to quite fully understand that. I've never been able to look at other people with that level of hatred, to look at them as less than human. Except people who hurt animals and children. You can get fucked. But, like, as far as, like, people on, like, sides of war and stuff, it's wild to me. You know, I don't think I would be able to do that to a Japanese soldier, because they are another person to me, you know? And I never quite understood it. Don't go too far to dehumanize your enemy. You might be surprised how alike you are in certain ways.
Well, that doesn't work. If you want to fight them and you want your people to go to war, you got to dehumanize as much as possible. The more you can dehumanize a race, a country, a peoples, any kind of person.
A group of people.
A group of people, yeah. There you go. That's the landslide of dehumanizing, and then being able to hate and fight and
It's really sad because look, here we are years later and it didn't matter. So the Chinese people, they're finding their resilience. They are finding their national pride, which, I mean, fuck's sake, they needed at this point. They're just getting like ground under the heel of Japan if you're in that side of China. The war that they were living through laid the groundwork for post-war geopolitics. It had significant effects on the eventual rise of the People's Republic of China in 1949. That's when right before that whole Hong Kong dude in front of the
Tiananmen Square, yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Thank you, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that leads to that, right? We're getting there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, this is like the start of the unification of people finally, like, having, like I said, like, national pride, but also, not getting, like, stepped on. Like, I know that sounds, like, silly, but, like, really, like, when they came in, they, like, the Japanese were so warlike. They just came in and they were like, no, this is what's happening. You exist to serve me. Now do it, or I'll kill you or your family, or I'll beat the shit out of you. That being said, they showed up and beat the shit out of them. And the Chinese are finally having this moment of like, why are we putting up with this? You know what I mean? It's that quiet kid who gets pushed around and just minds their own business until they're like, they sit down, they stand up from the desk, and then you realize how big they are, and you're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, like, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
It is going to affect China for a long time. And like I said, eventually this leads to the rise of the People's Republic of China in 1949. Today, this incident is remembered collectively in Chinese memory as the beginning of the Chinese people's war of resistance against Japanese aggression. The Lugou Bridge stands today as a preserved historical and cultural landmark. The Lugou Bridge is a solemn reminder of the conflict that began there. In China, it symbolizes resistance against foreign aggression and is a historical site and serves to educate and memorialize those who suffered during that war. The lions of the Lugou Bridge, described centuries ago by Marco Polo, now witness a story of endurance and resilience that continues to shape Chinese national consciousness. So, if you ever go to visit, send fucking pictures, is what I'm saying.
Hell yeah.
It's a beautiful bridge. It has these beautiful, like, architectural, like, I'm glad it wasn't destroyed in that conflict, because that happens all the fucking time. But yeah, so there you go. That's the Marco Polo Bridge incident that happened at the Lugou Bridge.
All right.
Which I didn't know about, and I think we all needed to know about that. How do we feel about Eastern history? Like, if my last episode of the season would be Eastern history, would that be too much?
Since it's the last episode of the season, I think it depends on how good it is for the last one of the season. You can kind of...
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Then what? Then go for it.
Well, yeah, of course you're going to say that.
You're the captain on that episode, so
I am the captain now.
I'm just first mate.
It'll be fun
on that one. Mm-hmm.
There will be some music that we won't be allowed to sing because copyright, but yeah, I'm ready.
All right. We'll put links to it.
So there you go. There's the Marco Polo Bridge incident at the Lugou Bridge that led to that 8-year-long Second Sino-Japanese War. Ties into Ip Man's, the conflicts that you see in Ip Man, which I will go over. I will do an episode on. We need to talk about Ip. That man's a legend. I'm like super stoked to surprise you with that, like the end of his story. I didn't know how he fit into certain pop culture.
Okay.
That's where I'll leave it. Sorry, it kind of ended abruptly. I didn't go into the whole war. I just wanted to talk about the incident. That was already 7 pages long.
That's all you need. Yeah, that's all you need. I had no idea this was going on, and there was a second fight for Japan during World War II. So you got me.
Yes, finally, I get to surprise and teach.
I mean, this is why we cover the types of topics we like to cover on here, because it's like, I did not know that. And if I didn't know that, somebody else might not know that. Or they're like, that's my thing. That's my Roman Empire. is the Longo. Is it Longo? Sorry,
Lugou.
Lugou, sorry.
Lugou.
The Lugou Bridge. That's my thing. What's your thing? What's your thing? Everyone's got their Roman Empire, as they say. But
that's true.
You're going to actually hear about one of my things, actually, in the next episode.
One of them. Next week, but they're every other week, so next episode.
I know. I have to make sure I say next episode, because you really want to say next week, but
right?
No. Silly stoners.
Time
silly
passes
gooses.
so fast. It literally feels like a week in between episodes sometimes.
It does, yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, already?
Quick, write something.
Yeah.
Edit, get it out. Yeah, so get excited. That'll be my final episode for season 7. And then Katie will wrap it up as the last episode of season 7. So we're getting close to the end, guys, but don't worry. There's still more. We're going to be back again, and we'll be here, there, and in between. And for our Patreon members, please stick around. We got a little bit of extra content for you. But until next episode, get money, get high, give love, and
don't be pushed around, dude, by your bully. Man, that's what we learned today from today's episode, dude. Set that book down and stand up and show them how big you are. I mean, like, violence is often not the answer, but don't get pushed around. Set your boundaries. Hold them. Hold those boundaries, champion. You're worth it. People don't deserve to step on your boundaries. There you go.
Nay. Bye.
Bye.